Awkward
Send to me.
silence for
Swear to
5 minutes
God.
while we tweet this out. So I did not know this, but when I looked up Matt Hardy on Apple Music, there is his AEW theme song.
Oh shit.
So I did not
Nice.
know that they have a page on Apple Music. Alright, wait, what am I doing? Oh yeah, I gotta get the link.
Oh yeah, I can get the link.
Hmm. Alright, multiplayer. Alright, you need me to send it to you?
No, you didn't. Oh yeah, I mean yeah, you need to. Fuck. Damn, I spelled now it's me wrong. Oh, okay.
Alright, send you the link. Oh, there goes the fan. PlayStation. Okay.
Oh shit. Hopefully they can't hear it.
Hopefully not. I got a couple fans going right now.
They're very sorry.
Apologize again.
This is PlayStation's fault for this inconvenience. Oh shit. God damn it, I always forgot to put the hashtags. And you can't edit a tweet, right? No. They should really add that.
Seriously, bro.
I'm gonna comment the hashtags. And that's good. And ARWAEW. Oh, I forgot the N.
Alright, let me put the link on this. If it's gonna fucking work.
Alright, now
Well,
screenshot this bitch.
it struggles. Struggles of fucking
Swear.
live streaming with EP2. Alright. I don't want to fucking learn more.
Alright, post this on Instagram. Next. Okay. Tag people.
Oh, yeah. Screenshot that.
The fuck?
Post this bitch on Instagram. Is there anybody in the chat? I don't believe so. I'm not on it though. Yet.
Same.
There is... No. I can't look at it yet, I guess. It's not... Well, it
Shit.
doesn't tell me, I don't think. Unless I'm just blind as a
No.
fucking bat. Which I most likely am.
Okay, that's good. Share. Alright, that's up. Hold on. Still up. Alright, it's up. Ooh. Right, just tweet it out. It's posted on Instagram. I'm all good. Well, let me pull up the chat actually for myself too.
What the fuck?
Oh shit.
Alright, here we are. I just posted shit on Instagram now. Put some hashtags. Let me at you. These are struggles of having a live stream.
I swear.
What the hell?
Yep, so far we have no one in the stream.
It is all
zero.
good. Just wait till this gets out.
Exactly. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Me. I'll do that later. Oh, we got someone.
Is it you?
Oh, yep, I think it's just reading me now. Oh, shit.
Well, that's okay.
What's up, man? God.
Alright. Just got a couple more. Is there any other wrestling company? Oh, I forgot. NXT. How could I forget?
Oh.
NXT UK.
Next.
And NXT TakeOver.
Oh, shit. Oh.
No.
Most random shit.
And steel chair. It says on the right account. Okay, good. The other day, the one for yesterday, when I was making the announcement, the fucking accidentally pulls it on my main account.
I'm dead. What the fuck?
Alright, let me just put this bio in my... let me put this fucking... link in my bio. Alright. I have been tagged in a post.
You have been, sir.
Alright. All my account is just posts. Alright, now let me pull this chat up and we should be good to go.
Yep, I got my chat up. Still got no one but me. Fuck. Fuck.
Turn this volume down real quick.
Oh yeah, make sure you do that.
So it doesn't sound like we're fucking making a podcast in the middle of fucking World War III. So next up on my fantasy booking.
Just
What the fuck?
that shit in one. Alright guys, I know I got deployed, but we're still having this podcast. Oh shit.
Alright.
I can see your screen basically, because I'm also I have to watch the stream.
We have one watch and we're about to have two because I just clicked on it.
I'm dead.
Okay. Alright.
Alrighty.
Kick it off this week.
I
got you.
Alright.
We have two watching.
I'll do it next week.
What is up, guys? What is up, guys? It is I, Johnny Mayhem, back with Sir K here for yet again another week of the Notorious Heels podcast. This is episode 2, and title this week is Wrestling What Ifs. Obviously, this is What If week, and stick around till the end of the video for a big announcement, and we will get into why the announcement is happening at the end of the video, and Yeah,
Yeah,
just
it's
look forward to
fun.
that. So,
Exactly. It's all good. Alright.
just, all right, here we go. We are loading up some
Alright.
gameplay now. So, how are you, Sir K? Welcome back, another week.
Another week. How was your week?
Was good. It was a newsworthy
Nice.
week, but we will not get into
Very
that this
nice.
episode, which we will explain that.
Yeah.
But it's a very newsworthy week, but definitely interesting. With my last week's definitely been interesting. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's all right. Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's
we
been an
just
interesting week. A lot of news.
get into a game here. Obviously, if you guys don't know our what ifs this week, you wanna kick that off? Tell them what we're doing this week as far as the what ifs go.
This week, we have two what ifs. Our first one we'll be going over is if Daniel Bryan never resigned in 2018 when he came back. That is our first what if. And our second what if is what if The Undertaker never lost a streak in WrestleMania 30. So,
2014. It has already been 6 years since Undertaker lost the infamous streak, which is just even crazy to
years
think
has
about.
ended. Oh, I swear.
So before we get into it, um, you want to give your general thoughts on the streak. But before we do this, let me just make sure. You want to
Okay.
give bit of an echo. Thoughts on the streak. Okay, no noise. We're good. We're good. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah, your general. God, my sensitivity's high as fuck. I have not played this game in a while. You want to give your general opinion on the streak and just yeah your general opinion and why.
Oh man, it ended way too early. It was the only thing at that point that was keeping Taker the gimmick of the dead man alive. And when the streak died, he died with it. So,
Definitely definitely agreed upon. I think that is for sure one of those things. It just should not have ended just for the sake of, if you're going to keep this guy around, that was what was keeping him going. You know what I mean? Because it's like,
exactly.
even though his body may have been dying at the time, he's Undertaker and his soul never did. And his soul was the
Exactly.
streak. That was, at least that
Legit.
was my understanding of it. And once they took that away from him, it just kind of turned into, over the years, like, what are you
Exactly.
here for? You know what I
He's,
mean?
he was there for nothing. The only reason he was ever there was for Mania to keep his
Right.
streak.
Yeah,
And,
and
oh,
obviously we know why Mark Calloway's here because he loves wrestling,
yeah,
right? But what is Undertaker
exactly.
here for? That was always my understanding of it. So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. For just a general thought. That's not the what if, but that is the general thought of the streak. But my just my general opinion of it. But now onto Daniel Bryan resigning. What did you mind at the time? Man, I'm lagging. Yeah,
Same, man. Shit.
what was going through your mind at the time? Did you want him to resign? Do you think he should have went? What was going through your head if you could remember? Because that was
I,
a
I
while
always
ago.
thought, like, he was safe at resigning because he was guaranteed something
Right.
when he resigned. But I think his overall career would have looked out better if he left.
Yeah. Which is
Because,
unfortunately the case for a lot of people.
yeah, I swear, he could have done way more interesting stuff anywhere else. Like,
Yeah.
he ran his career dry. in WWE, to be honest, because especially now, he ain't doing much that's interesting, to be honest, so.
I mean, we were just on here last week talking about how upset we were about his match with Sami Zayn.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
like,
Like, you could
that
be
match was,
putting on classics with fucking whoever, you know what I mean? But instead you're sitting here
exactly.
fucking wrestling. You ain't wrestling Sami Zayn, you're wrestling his gimmick. You
Yeah,
know,
basically.
that's not the Sami Zayn we all know. That's for goddamn sure.
His garbage ass gimmick and basically gave him, like, no one
Yeah.
cares about this thing.
Yeah, so I think god damn, are we the only ones in here?
Yep. Still are. Fuck.
Um well, yeah, I think that I just for me, like Brian at the time I thought he would have been safe because I thought they would have gave him
Yeah,
something. But
something, but
looking back at it, I mean, who do they
yeah,
really give things to resign? I mean, I know they give him
exactly.
some kind of creative like stance on things, and I know it's not creative control. I don't think anybody fucking gets like creative control,
Nah,
but
nah, no, it's that.
yeah, that's seemingly a luxury in WWE. But
Oh,
um,
yeah.
fucking I think he gets a kind of say in like who he wants to wrestle because if
Yeah.
I could remember correctly, I think like the whole point of him resigning was that he just wanted to wrestle. So I think they gave
Yeah.
him like a I think they gave him like a luxury on at least who he wanted to get in the ring with.
Yeah,
Um
and how it went down, basically. That's probably
yeah.
it.
So I think I'm pretty sure that's what he was kind of given. But
Yeah.
as far as how I thought about it then, I definitely thought he would have been safe. I thought he would have
Yeah.
had a couple world championship
Gunso.
reigns. Sorry if you guys just heard my chair squeaking, but I think he would have at least done a little more than just one championship. Well, one WWE championship reign. It is. I believe he was tag team champions with Rowan. I believe.
Oh, yeah, he was.
Yeah. So um, yeah, that I think that what was I saying? Oh, yeah, I definitely think he would have had more than this. But I mean that's just the case of WWE just tying people down just to tie them down,
Yeah.
and you know,
Exactly. That's what
right?
they
And
do.
then once they're under once they're under contract, it's like um, fair game. You know, it's like now
Yeah,
you're
you're
theirs again. So which obviously.
exactly. It's
But
true.
yeah, again, just to sum it up, I just think that Brian would have been better. Brian would have been better
Better.
off. Definitely, definitely leaving, and we'll get into that once we start breaking it down. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the general conception on Daniel Bryan, his situation.
Yeah. Dude,
So
even just a break would have really benefited him.
right, yeah, because I mean, him. I think the thing with him is like when he was SmackDown GM, like he was having fun on talking smack, but like you could just like other than that, you could just tell that he just didn't really give a shit about like being there. You know what I,
Yeah.
like you could
He
tell,
really
and
didn't.
after a while, you could tell it was like I remember if I can remember correctly, near the end of that SmackDown GM run, you could just tell he just like fucking hated it. Like yeah,
You tell.
yeah, you could tell he just like
He's like,
hated just cutting those cheesy promos where you announce matches and shit like that. Like,
yeah. You could tell he got tired of that real fast.
yeah, so that's definitely just what I seen from like the end of his kind of run as SmackDown, or basically his run is not an active performer. I just think
Yeah.
you could just read his body language, just how like unhappy he was. Like, I remember he used to send out tweets to like have to
Yeah.
fly 9 hours to go announce a match, or I don't know. From what I can remember, he used to just I remember him tweeting
Shit
out a
like
lot.
that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Shit like that.
I have to work on Christmas just to be the GM. You know what I mean? And
Mhm.
so yeah, and yeah, I think that pretty much sums it up for the Daniel Bryan situation. But yeah,
Yeah.
is there anything else you wanna bring up about either of these situations?
No, say just with the Daniel Bryan, you could tell he was just all he wanted to ever do was wrestle, even beyond his home life, so
Right.
you could really tell that the way he was acting, so yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, and again, I don't know if Total Divas is like completely scripted, but on there they made him seem like he was so miserable. He just
Oh
like
yeah.
just hated life without. And I know Total Divas probably fucking just enhanced the shit out of
Oh
that,
yeah, super.
but
Exactly.
I definitely
You could
think there
tell.
was elements of truth kind of in there.
Yeah. You
But
could tell that's the way he felt.
yeah, I'll start my what if with I'll start it off. We'll start it off with the Daniel Bryan. Just gonna have
Alright.
notes here. 2 full pages for this.
Shit. Nice.
All right, let's see. Okay, so basically before we do this, I just want to kind of refresh your guys' memory and just pretty much everything that did happen. Um, Everything that did happen after he did resign. So when he resigned, he immediately was in that program with the Miz where they handled that at
Yeah.
SummerSlam. Then he went into that heel turn that was a good run. It was a
Good
good
run.
run. It was a decent run. We got the infamous Brock Lesnar match, which was its own beast. It was a
Brutal.
very good match. We got some people are 50-50 on this, but we had the eco-friendly WWE Championship.
Yeah, we did get that.
So yeah, that what do you think about that?
I actually digged it.
hmm
It turned a real life, like, uh, part of life to him and made it his heel gimmick. So I thought it was cool. I was down for that actually. How about you?
Nate, he's back. What's
Um,
up, Nate? Nate did not like the eco-friendly WWE Championship. Um,
oh
so
shit.
he said he threw it in a
No, what?
plastic garbage bag, and that was bad for the environment. Did he throw it in a
That
plastic garbage bag?
I guess he probably did. Wow, that's true, man. I didn't even think about
Well, um, so yeah, we got the eco-friendly WWE Championship. I kind of digged it for the same reason you did. I just thought it was, I just thought him addressing that was really cool. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
he's walking around with a leather strap on a championship like that. That's not something his character would have did. Um,
exactly.
and we got Kofi Mania.
Yeah,
So
all because of Ryan.
just a couple questions for you, Sir K. In the chat, Nathan. Um, um, do you think Kofi Mania would have happened without Daniel Bryan?
Oh God, no. They would have never gave Kofi a line a day.
Mm-hmm.
He got over by chance, and then Daniel Bryan is the one that made them do it, so
Right.
definitely wouldn't happen without DB. That's just what I think. I
Yeah,
don't
it was
know. Maybe
actually
that's
supposed to be Bryan and Owens, which
Yeah.
That doesn't make, and that, like, at the time, that did not make any fucking
No.
sense. You
There was
know,
no story there.
it was just kind of DB versus fucking KO for what? You know what I mean? Like those, and if I can, oh, it was when Kevin Owens came back and he was like using the stunner. I don't know. That just would have been stupid. No story behind that, but yeah, I think the same thing. I think if Daniel Bryan would have never re-signed, it definitely would have changed the course
History.
Of history for Kofi's career. I think.
Yeah.
DB would have never even been WWE champion, so I wonder who even would have walked in as WWE champion. Nate
I don't
says
know.
Kofi worked way too hard for the weak shit for the weak shit before the New Day. Yeah, the whole time. He says gotta hate Kevin Owens with the stunner.
Yeah.
Dude, I think the pop-up power bomb was so him.
It was perfect for him.
He just did it amazingly, you know. It was just,
Yeah.
I'm not sure in WWE we've ever seen anybody use it before. I'm pretty,
Yeah.
well, not as their finisher at least.
Yeah, not as like their big move.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm pretty sure we've seen a pop-up power bomb before, but not as like their finisher. And I just think it was
Yeah.
really good on him. But yeah, yeah, definitely, Kofi Mania, no fucking way that would have happened. I think that was a class act by Bryan
Yeah, it
to,
was.
and it also goes to show how much WWE is willing to shaft somebody after such a good showing. That's why
Yeah.
a lot of people hate, including myself, hate the fact that they never go with the hot hand. Never,
Yeah.
you know?
Exactly.
Which is also cool that Bryan was able to get in his deal that he can kind of dictate who he wants to work with, and I think that that just shows what kind of person he is, that he was willing to do that for Kofi. So yeah, so pretty much how that's pretty much everything that happened.
Yeah.
Bryan obviously just went right into a feud with the Miz. And for something, Owens giving Cena a pop-up powerbomb is way better than him giving anyone a stunner. Yeah, him with the stunner.
That's true.
It's
Not it, man.
it's just not him. Like, how are you? Nobody, like, Stone Cold is so popular. Nobody, you can't like rip off the stunner. You know what I mean? That'd be like fucking Roman Reigns using the rock bottom. You know what I mean? Like
Legit,
that.
that would make no sense.
Like, it just looks like a rip-off. Not that Kevin Owens is anything like Stone Cold. I mean, he's done Stone Cold-esque things, like his storyline with the boss, but, like, I mean,
Still.
nobody's gonna ever reach Stone Cold's level, at least.
Every time you use a singer, it's just, oh, it's Stone Cold's move.
Exactly, you know what I mean? But I think when you see the pop-up powerbomb, it's kind of like, everybody just knows it as Kevin Owens' move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking yeah. So I don't know if I should. Well, I'll run. I'll just refresh your guys' memory, even though it's so recent. But so basically, what ended up happening was on the Indies, pretty much, All In was happening at the time. All the elite were basically had one foot out the door.
Yeah.
Of Ring of Honor and New Japan and those companies, and it was all up in the air at the time on where everybody was going. And then All In happened, and that was just a great thing for wrestling, I think. And
Yeah, it really was.
and I think oh god, so yeah, they just pretty much ended there, and I think everybody was kind of calling for Bryan to join that class, since it seems like such a Bryan thing to do because he's so indie. You know what I mean? He's just very indie. So Um, yeah, so that's pretty much what ended up happening. The Bullet Club Civil War, I believe, was happening at the time, and and uh,
Yeah.
and then in WWE, I just ran down everything. Obviously, he got thrusted into the stupid feud with the Miz, and then the heel turn happened, which pretty much kind of revived it for a little bit of time,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
it was definitely just all around a good thing for him to kind of, because the yes stick for him was just
Yeah.
everybody's
It-
kind of limbo about
Yeah.
it, because like on the so yeah that but now that that's pretty much the reality of everything that happened. But if I could just rewind to August 31st, 2018, the last day of Daniel Bryan's WWE contract, September 1st. No, December. If I could just rewind to September 1st, which was the last day of his contract,
Yep.
I have Daniel Bryan leaves WWE, but he is not able to make it to All In. So, what is Daniel Bryan gonna do? He's gonna show up in Ring of Honor. He's gonna show up in New Japan. Obviously, those were the hot alternative companies at the time, and yeah, he's pretty much just going to just show up in there. And so, although I do still have the Alpha versus Omega match, Chris Jericho is going to lose to Kenny Omega, which he did in real life. And as soon as Daniel Bryan gets released, I'm going to say Kenny Omega still has the championship. Now, if my memory serves me correctly, I don't think he had it still by this point in time. I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
he lost it to Switchblade already, but just so we can kind of plant some seeds for a little bit of further storylining, I'm going to say that Kenny still has the belt, and none other than Daniel Bryan, Bryan Danielson, American Dragon, whatever you want to call him, whatever his name ended up being, we're just going to call him Daniel Bryan because that's how we all know him, defeats Kenny Omega for the IWGP United States Championship. Now, Bryan will go on to hold that for a couple of months, and and he will just defend it. Just just having great
Yeah.
matches. With Japan, you could pretty much
Yeah.
have it with anybody, and I'm pretty sure they used to defend like the IWGP belts against guys in ROH and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
So
They did.
So this, there at the time there was so much like to offer in that company. He could have matches against Flip, Marty, Switchblade, fucking anybody really,
Wow.
Naito, Okada, um, whatever, anybody. So he goes on to hold the belts for months. That's how I would have booked it, and then he ends up getting attacked by the Painmaker, the GOAT, Chris Jericho. Now Chris Jericho is going to attack him to plant seeds for a further feud, where we are inevitably going to see Daniel Bryan put that championship on the line against none other than Chris Jericho. Um,
Yeah.
and and obviously when that match happens, Chris Jericho defeats Daniel Bryan after a couple month long reign with the IWGP United States Championship. Um, Now Chris Jericho will go on to hold that. And just my way of booking it, I'm gonna have him drop it to Switchblade Jay White, solidifying him as a brighter star in Japan. Which
Yeah.
obviously then that can transcend him to the IWGP Heavyweight Championship, solidifying him as a star. I just think that would be somebody. I'm pretty sure Chris would be willing to do that. Just kind of putting over Jay White. Just
I
because
think that.
Chris. I mean, ooh, controller died. What the hell? Um, I think. Come on, guys. We have technical difficulties here on episode 2. I will get right back to doing this as soon as I plug my controller up. Apologize once again. for the technical
There's early
difficulties.
gentlemen. Technical difficulties.
This is what happens when you watch Dark Side of the Rings all day and forget to charge your remote. Apologize once again. I hope I don't lose my train of thought, but I'm pretty sure I left off. Okay. All right. Okay, we're back. Apologize again. So, Chris, I'm pretty sure will be willing to put over Switchblade Jay White on his way out of New Japan, whether that be temporary or permanent. Just Chris will be obviously leaving New Japan for a while, and we will get into why right now, because AEW gets announced obviously January 2019. And Chris obviously is at that pep rally, but still no sight of Daniel Bryan. He was written off television because the dastardly heel that Chris Jericho played in New Japan obviously put him out for a couple of months. So we got Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing to number one contender to be the number one contender, and then we also got, I think it was the Battle Royal, and Hangman won it, if my memory serves me correctly. But instead, we're moving the inaugural AEW champion, the AEW championship match to Double or Nothing. We're just gonna speed that up a little bit, and these guys are obviously going to have a match of Jericho versus Hangman, just like in real life. This time, instead of at All Out, it's going to be at Double or Nothing, and Chris Jericho still does retain the, he wins. He's the inaugural AEW champion. Now, Daniel Bryan, after this match, Jericho obviously, will get on the mic, and I have him cutting a dastardly heel promo about how AEW, pretty much just kind of how he did it in real life, basically saying that everybody needs to thank him. This company would not be around if it wasn't for him. Just
doing just Chris Jericho shit.
Yeah, just doing the great stuff he does. But instead of Jon Moxley coming through the crowd, it's none other than Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan attacks Chris Jericho. And obviously, from New Japan, you've planted seeds. Not only do these guys have a history from WWE, now these guys have a history from recent memory, which was fighting over the IWGP United States Championship. And I would definitely have, which I know they would do this in AEW because they're not meant to. What's Bryan's gimmick? Would he be the American Dragon again? I'd have him be Bryan Danielson. And I would... he, on the indies, pretty much just kind of got over for just his hard-hitting ass style. But as far as his gimmick goes, as a babyface, I think that he's the kind of guy that you can kind of be like he's just so, like, you know those guys that are so just lovable off, like, work rate? Like, kind of how Johnny Gargano is, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I think I would kind of bill him as that, and, obviously just kind of what he's always, been portrayed as the underdog, fighting from behind. Obviously, he had a good thing going for him, but then he gets storyline injured by Chris Jericho and took it out, and now he is fighting from behind again, challenging Chris Jericho for a bigger prize on a bigger stage, which is exactly the whole element of the Daniel Bryan character. Is why so many people loved his WrestleMania 30 moment, was because the big stage, the big prize, he's fighting against two of the biggest stars, and it's just his underdog moment, and that's when he shines best, and we have to play on his strengths, obviously. So Daniel Bryan attacks Chris Jericho, obviously letting him know that he has not forgotten what he's done to him through the course of his little New Japan run he had going. So these guys will be set up in a title match for at the next pep rally. The next AEW pep rally will be for All Out, and at that pep rally, we got a little bit of confrontation between DB and Chris Jericho, and whether you have it be Cody or Tony Khan, just kind of some authority figure, be like, Brian, you can't just. This isn't the kind of company where you're just gonna come in and get you kind of, just take a little fun digs at WWE like they do. This isn't the kind of company where you just perform a little beat down and you got yourself an AEW World Championship match. So you, Daniel Bryan, will be put up against. Now the AEW roster is so big. Well, no, it's not big, but it's so talented. I don't want to do Kenny Omega because obviously they have the history in Japan and it's something we've seen. Instead, I think we could get two elements of two really good characters clashing. If you want to beat Chris Jericho, you will have to beat the man who defeated Kenny Omega at Double or Nothing. Just say they had a match, how I'm booking it. You will have to beat the bastard Pac at Fight for the Fallen. Not Fyter Fest, because that was one of their little kind of jobber shows. And plus, I would like to keep Jon Moxley versus Joey Janela at the end of that show. But if Daniel Bryan's on that show, it's immediately going to get overshadowed. So I'm keeping that unsanctioned street fight match between Mox and Joey, because, I mean, that was just fucking incredible. So Cody announces, or Tony Khan, whatever you want, just some kind of authority figure. It could be the Bucks, not Kenny, because with Kenny, it's like he's kind of got a personal thing with Bryan, because he took his IWGP United States Championship away from him. So obviously, you would kind of feel a little bit of favoritism there, and that's not what this company's about. So you're gonna have Bryan versus Pac, because Pac defeated, who did I say he defeated again?
Chris Jericho.
Yeah, no. God damn. I thought, Pac, who did I say he defeated? Oh, Kenny. Yeah, Kenny. Because they were supposed to have a match at, like, Double or Nothing, but I remember, and then somebody got injured. Or wait, no, it was Kenny and Mox. Okay. Sorry. Kenny Omega. I just completely forgot, because there's just a lot of big names in AEW. But, yes, Kenny and Pac. I believe they had a feud for a little bit, so we're just putting that to, Double or Nothing. Pac wins, beats Kenny. I'm pretty sure that happened in real life. I just can't remember. I'm pretty sure. It's going to bother me. Anyway, Pac versus Bryan. Obviously, the two winners of their matches at Double or Nothing. Winner gets dibs at Chris Jericho. Obviously, like I said, the two elements of their characters, obviously Pac being this dastardly heel and Bryan being this underdog that gets, that just kind of gets over by his work rate alone. However, I know these guys could put on a great match, but I'm not sure if Daniel Bryan would be looked at as an underdog here, which is why you could have Pac, maybe that Sean Spears, like, headshot thing with the chairman. Maybe do something like that before the match and kind of make DB the underdog. You know what I mean? Because when Pac has the upper hand, he's dangerous, right? But like I said, I don't know if you put those two guys face to face, if Daniel Bryan definitely looks like an underdog. So that's why we're gonna have a little bit of just Pac's bitter character. You know what I mean? Just mad. Like, why do you come in and get this spotlight? You know what I mean? Because Pac is just that kind of guy where it's like like fuck you. I've been overshadowed my whole
Grr.
career, and then you just come in here, and just because everybody likes you, type thing. So
Yeah.
we're gonna do that. Obviously, Daniel Bryan beats Pac. Face off with Chris Jericho to go off the air for Fight for the Fallen. Now we have All Out, Chicago, Illinois, Daniel Bryan versus Chris Jericho, AEW World Championship on the line. Great match. Jericho just being Jericho, cheating, yelling at the ref. Whatever it takes. It was not enough to keep Daniel Bryan down. Daniel Bryan captures the All Elite Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship. And obviously, no better than a crowd than Chicago to do this kind of shit in.
That's true.
Maybe just be me being a little biased, but we do have one of the more smarkier crowds, which is just great pop, great energy. Let's see. Once you're done with this, you should talk about what if jobbers that deserved it turn out to main eventers. I will write that down. That could definitely be. I wonder. Or like, what if the WWE was opposite? Like, what if Roman Reigns was like the bottom of the barrel, and fucking Mojo Rawley was like the fucking main event motherfucker? We should do that. Like, what if?
Yeah.
Or we could fantasy book. What if WWE restarted? What would you do? With their current roster, who would you put where and shit like that? Anyway, Yoshitatsu, my favorite wrestler ever.
I love Yoshitatsu.
Okay, now Daniel Bryan, top of the world, right? All Elite Wrestling World Heavyweight Champion, just beat Chris Jericho, underdog type shit, crowd going crazy, and all of a sudden you hear like a mic. Do you know when you put like a mic up to a speaker and it kind of makes, the noise when you first connect a mic and it's like that for like a split second?
I know what you're talking about, yeah.
And on the screen, you see John F. Kennedy. And he says, the only thing we need to fear is fear itself.
That's some good shit.
Then you hear Cult of Personality play, because WWE does not have the rights to that song anymore.
They don't.
And obviously, I don't think they could put because I think that was a little WWE kind of thing they put in there. That's why. They
copyrighted that version.
Oh yeah, but that's yeah, I think that would be just genius. I think that would be a cool way to like throw everybody off, like John F. Kennedy. But like the people that like love that song, which a lot of people do, would know. So I think that would be definitely fucking. I'm marking out now thinking about it. But yeah, just John F. Kennedy, black and white screen. And you just hear, the only thing you need to fear is fear itself. And Cult of Personality plays over the PA system. Out comes CM Punk. But bro, I don't know if you remember this. Nathan says, it's fucking Chicago. Oh my god.
Oh, I know, bro. That pop was literally electric.
Man, can you imagine if like CM Punk fucking came back when we were at War Games and everybody was saying that he was gonna come back? I mean, I didn't think he was gonna come back, but could you just imagine?
Could you passed away right then and there?
Yeah, bro. I probably would have croaked on the fucking spot too. Like, could you imagine, bro? Like, that would have been nuts.
Man.
Well. Oh, fuck, you're putting me over. John F. Kennedy. Wait, what the fuck? Oh, shit.
I just realized. I was like, wait, John F. Kennedy. Then I realized, I was like, oh, shit. That's in the beginning of the song.
And Daniel Bryan's just kind of holding the belt looking there. Now, I don't know if you remember when CM Punk came back after Money in the Bank in 2011, but do you remember how he came out of the curtain? How he did not lay an eye on John Cena? He took like 3 steps. and then just slowly turned his head. That shit
Yeah,
was
slowly.
beautiful to me, bro. That was a beautiful visual. And
Yeah.
like, to me, that's still like one of the most badass moments to me. Like, I could go back and look at that right now and like fucking mark out as if I was watching the shit as an 11-year-old kid again. But yeah, to me,
Man.
that I just love the way that was
Awesome.
shot. And CM
Definitely.
Punk, and then CM Punk, obviously. Do you remember the smirk he used to give?
Oh, I remember that. Yep.
Cool ass shit. So he smirks. He looks at Daniel Bryan. He spreads his arm out. You know how he spreads his arm out to kind of just collect the energy
Yeah.
from the audience. Walks down to the ring, looks Daniel Bryan in the eye, and extends his hand. Daniel Bryan, happy to see him but confused, shakes his hand too. CM Punk does not let go of the hand and delivers a GTS to Daniel Bryan and holds up the AEW championship, marking out with the Chicago crowd. Let's see. I remember
God.
Punk mocking Vince's walk and they did the contract signing. Yeah, that was a good
Oh
segment
yeah.
where he brung up Colt Cabana and Luke Gallows because he was fired at the time, and friends that got fired from, and David Hart Smith. Yeah, fucking dude, that 2011 Punk shit, bro.
Just unbelievable.
What a like. I was thinking about this the other day. Like, I was listening to the Art of Wrestling podcast with Colt Cabana, the one where he bashed WWE pretty much, and
Yeah.
I was thinking about how I was describing him in my Mount Rushmore, and my God, like the guy is exactly like, he's so relatable to like a kid like just me and
Yeah.
you, and probably some of you
Yeah.
guys watching too, just the kids that are considered weird because they like pro wrestling and shit like that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's, I don't know, Chris Masters. I miss Chris Masters. He was my favorite. um
Oh yeah.
he just again the guy is just so just goddamn relatable. Obviously,
He
Chicago's favorite
really is.
son. Um, he's so goddamn relatable to a kid like myself and Sir K and a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of kids like us as well. But I mean, it's just awesome. So
Definitely.
going into their next pay per view, which I believe was Full Gear. Full Gear.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan and CM Punk. I mean, main event doesn't get much better than that, bro.
Yeah.
And as much as Daniel Bryan puts up a fight, CM Punk captures the AEW championship, showing respect to Daniel Bryan. Um, Not shaking the hand because that would be a little wimpy of Daniel Bryan after he lost the title, but he gives him a little nod after the match. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I know what you
Um,
mean. Yeah.
or what you could do is, um, just have Punk give him a little smirk, like good shit kind of smirk. But
Yeah.
those two never show respect. You know, like they never show
Yeah.
respect in the form of, because Brian obviously can't be happy about this. Now
No.
these guys go into, or you could you could even alternative kind of booking on the spot here. Another thing you could do is you could have you could have Brody Lee. You could have Brody Lee uh, help Daniel Bryan win to put DB in the Dark Order. That's
Oh,
an
that'd be
alternative
sick.
thing. That's something I just kind of came up with on the spot, just thinking about the Wyatt family. But I feel like that resembles it a little too much. Obviously
Yeah.
with Harper and Wyatt in this, or Harper and Bryan in this faction. Obviously, those two were in the Wyatt family for a little bit of time.
Yeah.
But that's not how we're booking it. They go on to have another match at Revolution, and Daniel Bryan comes so close, but he just can't beat him. Obviously, the reason we're doing this is not to just fucking stroke CM Punk, but it's Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan and Punk are just talents that are just made to be. You know what I mean?
They really
They are just
yeah.
made to be put in the ring together. Just two incredible talents. But I'm kind of trying to play into Bryan's underdog persona here, and this could eventually lead to a heel turn. But after that, February obviously was Revolution. Daniel Bryan goes on to have two feuds with Jon Moxley and MJF. He loses both of them. I understand. I'm not trying to make him look like a jobber, but
I get what you mean. The underdog.
he is indeed the underdog, obviously. And like I said, it could lead to a great implosion to where he does sacrifice himself to the Dark Order, or he aligns himself with fucking the Lucha Bros. Off topic. I love Alex Riley's theme. He has a really good theme song. Alex Riley has a really good theme song.
The fuck?
However, John Cena did not think so. But
He buried him.
TNT tournament begins. The TNT Championship, obviously, it's going on now. Real life. Daniel Bryan makes it all the way to the finals with a huge upset victory over Lance Archer. Because let's say by this point, since we're kind of prolonging we're kind of moving the TNT Championship to where it'll kind of start in the middle of the summer a little bit, or like just at the beginning of it, kind of like right around when the kids get off of school, like the end of May type thing. And Bryan picks up a huge upset victory against Lance Archer, and let's say he debuts a little quicker than he does.
Yeah.
And he gets in the finals to face Brody Lee. Daniel Bryan, Brody Lee. What a cool full circle type moment. You know what I mean? I think love Brody Lee. Now, Daniel Bryan could have the fucking crowd in the palm of his hand. About to go for the running knee. Dark Order distracts Daniel Bryan. Dumb babyface syndrome kicks in. They just all assemble at the just kind of Stu Grayson, Evil Uno, and all the other minion guys, whatever the fuck they're called, assemble at the end of the ramp. Daniel Bryan, not completely dumb babyface syndrome, because Daniel's only going to look for a split second, but he's going to realize, wait, no, I've been losing way too much.
Exactly.
Okay, turns around, but it's too late. Because the Exalted One, Brody Lee, is already standing at his feet. Hits Daniel turns him inside out with a wicked lariat, his discus lariat.
Oh, yeah.
Brody Lee picks up the victory, securing himself as the TNT champion. Now, Daniel Bryan, obviously, Lee and the Dark Order walk up the ramp. They walk back. Daniel Bryan's walking up the ramp, and you get a little cinematic moment of him walking up the ramp with his hands on his hips, just disappointed. And he gets to the top of the ramp, and the Dark Order have left him a mask. Now DB picks up the mask and walks away with it.
Yeah.
Now, he comes back as regular Daniel Bryan, but he's kind of off.
Yeah.
Now, I would just kind of have him just not himself, but he's kind of picking up victories over, like Darby Allin, but you could kind of just tell he's just not happy with the way things are
Yeah.
going. So he cuts a promo and says, I just can't live this down. I just need a shot at Brody Lee one last time. He has another match with Brody Lee, but this time, if Daniel Bryan loses, he has to join the Dark Order.
Oh. That's a good stipulation.
Daniel agrees. Brody Lee and Daniel Bryan have another clinic. Obviously, just as everybody would be anticipating, those guys would, and just as the Dark Order kind of start to assemble, just Stu Grayson and Evil Uno come out. Daniel Bryan doesn't notice them, but gets caught with another discus lariat. But right as Brody Lee goes for the cover, the lights go out. Now, lights come back on. Daniel's in the corner. Stu Grayson and Evil Uno are not on the stage anymore. Brody Lee's looking confused. Obviously just a shot of his face. But behind Brody Lee, there is standing broken Matt Hardy to kickstart a feud with the Dark Order. The Hardys versus the Dark Order. What a fucking ultimate deletion we would get out of that, bro.
That would be nuts.
Assuming by this time Jeff's out of his contract too. So, I'm assuming Brother Nero would be there too. And obviously, Stu Grayson and Evil Uno are gone because Matt Hardy deleted them. Daniel Bryan wins the TNT Championship, culminating in a victory for him. And obviously, that is how I would book it. And if I'm being honest, half of that shit at the end was booked off the top. But, yeah. I don't know how I do it, but I do it. But, yeah, that is how I would book. Well, when I was just going through my notes, I'm like, man, how can I make this even cooler? And then for some reason, I just thought, I have never mentioned Matt Hardy. What a cooler way than to have Hardy and Brother Nero versus the Dark Order in an ultimate deletion. That would be sick shit, bro.
That'd be some good shit.
Now that is how I would book if Daniel Bryan left WWE in 2018. Sorry, taking up a lot of time, but what do you got, bro? I'm excited to hear it.
Well, first off, do you have a WWE side to that Daniel Bryan what if? Or no?
I do not. Oh, well, what if he did resign? Like, how would I fantasy book that?
No, what if he didn't? Like, what's the WWE side? But it's all good, Mine was ass anyway. So
well, very quickly. Let's see, if Bryan leaves, that leaves nothing for The Miz to do, so his career immediately goes to Miz and Morrison level type garbage.
Poor guy.
We probably would just get AJ Brock 2, I would assume. Yeah, I'm not sure what happens for them, but what do you got though? I'm curious to hear.
For the summer, I literally couldn't find anything because that SmackDown roster had no good heels because I would have had Shinsuke win at Mania. Had no good heels.
Jinder.
Besides Joe. And Joe couldn't lose. So literally no
And
food for the
not
summer.
not not only that is we've seen it before.
Exactly, we have.
And you
So
can't do some shit like that because automatically it's gonna be better in NXT. So the main
oh,
roster is just gonna make their whole feud look like shit. So
it really is.
continue.
I would just end up having fuck. Oh, I need to take a drink. Fuck. Alright, I'm good. I would have had Andrade win the Rumble, and then he would have ended up, beating Shinsuke. So
A
all
call,
that type of shit.
question.
There was a story. Mm-hmm.
A calling like a called up Andrade because the 2018 was his first Rumble, right? When he was NXT champion.
20. Yes, so it would have been a called up Andrade.
We never seen that
Um,
before. Wait, will he win the
yeah,
Rumble? Oh, we've never seen the NXT champion win the Rumble and then headline and then
yeah,
go on to take over, defend, and headline Mania. Never seen that before. I like the star building here.
yeah. So that would have been it. That's all I had for WWE's side. I'm glad you didn't have anything, because neither did I.
I can't really think about like. Yeah, we probably would have just got AJ Brock 2. AJ would have probably ended up dropping it to Joe, maybe.
Yeah, probably. Shit like that.
Yeah, I'm not
So
sure.
for my for my Daniel Bryan fantasy, not fantasy booking, but what if booking. So of course he would. It was around all in time, and ROH were and New Japan were the top companies, so of course he would go between those two. And I would have him beat who was the ROH champion at the time, Jay Lethal, for the title. That would happen. That would be a great match. Then he would have great matches all around the Indies with that title. Go on and start a feud with Cody, because he was the U.S. champ for IWGP U.S. champ at the time. I'd have
Hmm.
him start a feud with him, and at Wrestle Kingdom 13, he would beat Cody for that U.S. title, but then he would also have to defend the ROH title that night, and he would lose it because, battered and bruised from that match that he had with Cody. And I would actually make him lose it to Switchblade to make
Hmm.
him look good, because New Japan's not good at that. So Daniel Bryan with that title, have that little thing with Cody going on, and of course later in the year I mean not ROH would be created, AEW would be created, and then all that shit would start with AEW Double or Nothing. Push the I wouldn't make the AEW Championship match at Double or Nothing. I would still make it at All In,
Hmm.
personally. So yeah, the tournament goes on for that. And in the tournament, one of the qualifying matches, Daniel Bryan is signed to that company, by the way. And the qualifying match is MJF versus Daniel Bryan.
So would you have him be at
Now,
like
not
one of the pep rallies, or like maybe like a mystery thing, or would you just have him like show up at one of those rallies?
who, MJF?
No, Brian.
Oh yeah, he would have been at the rallies,
Okay.
definitely.
Okay.
Those AEW beginning rallies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
He, yeah. So, MJF would beat, Daniel Bryan would put up hell of a fight he can, but MJF would actually end up beating him by some, not like WWE heel tactics, but some type of bogus act to give himself the advantage.
Hmm.
He'd beat Bryan, he'd go on to the finals, and he would win against Adam, Hangman Adam Page, Hangman, as some idiots call him.
Jim Ross.
He'd go on to beat, oh God, his
Hangman.
dumbass. Hangman. God, I hate when he said. So yeah, he beat Hangman for the title. Hangman would become the alcoholic he is today because of that loss. And then Daniel Bryan would be on a low point, kinda, but he would slowly be gaining back up. Beating people like Ty Dillinger or Sean Spears. He'd be
The
beating
chairman.
people, Chairman, beating people like him. going back up in the world. And then at All In, he would earn a match against MJF for the title. Now they would clash in the title match, and MJF would beat the shit out of Daniel Bryan. Like, Daniel Bryan's a hard hitter, but MJF...
He's got the ring.
Yeah, exactly. He's got the heel behind him. He's got the anger and aggression behind him.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Wardlow.
Oh, yeah, he does got Wardlow. He got Wardlow, too. I forgot he was there at the time. Wait, when did Wardlow come in? Put that factor in.
At Full Gear, I believe.
Oh, shit. Alright, he came in at Full Gear. So he wasn't in yet at all, and I thought he was for a second. I was like, oh, shit. But yeah, he was in. He wasn't in that match, but actually, change it up. Actually, gonna debut Wardlow now and have him be a factor in the match. It would be a more of a wouldn't be a gimmick match, but it would have been like some type of no DQ, something like that match for their title match. Wardlow would come in, beat the shit out of Bryan, and MJF would come in, get the win up, beat Daniel Bryan, beat the shit out of him again, just putting Daniel Bryan down yet again, scoffing at him, and then Cody would come out and scoff at MJF for fucking Daniel Bryan up like that. Because, even though they had some history, they're both, respect each other. And then MJF doesn't understand why Cody's so, annoyed and pissed for him doing that. But history goes on. MJF is the AEW champion still. Cody is helping Daniel Bryan not recover, he's not being, his nurse, but he's, emotionally helping him here and there. Goes on, Cody does his thing, MJF does his thing for a little bit, and then, hold on, and then MJF, shit. I gotta read over these notes. I didn't mention that DB lost the US title, the IWGP US title to Juice Robinson back then. I did not. I forgot to mention that. Looked at the notes. But damn, I didn't book this far. Fuck, I booked really far. I just booked to let history run its course. I think I booked. Damn.
It's all good. It's all good if that's all you got.
I'm trying to think of something real quick. That's some garbage. I need more. Yeah, I think the story would just fucking end up being Daniel Bryan finally triumphs at the end at Revolution and finally wins the title against the heel MJF, which MJF would go for Cody for some, help and guidance because he's his trainee, and Cody would scoff at him and be like, alright dude, I'm not gonna pity you on this one because you did some fuck shit in the first place, and then MJF would get pissed, and then that would plant the seeds for the very soon coming, at that point, feud of Cody and MJF. So yeah. Damn.
Any questions you got? I got a couple. So now I ask you guys, in AEW, after listening to, these questions are regarded for mine, but they could probably go for yours as well. Would Chris Jericho end up being as popular in AEW? Think about that for a minute. Let that soak in. What do you think, Sir K?
I say in the mainstream, he'd still probably be the most popular in the company, but to the fans, it'd be Daniel Bryan all the way. He'd be the star of that company. In my opinion. You?
Yeah. No, I think he'd be I think he wouldn't have got the opportunity to shine like he has. Because
Yeah.
in my booking with Punk and Bryan in there, that's kind of hard for
Yeah, what is that?
anybody.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um, so, yeah, I definitely don't think that Jericho would have had surpassed that, but um, also off the top, would there even be an inner circle the way I booked it? Probably not,
No, probably not actually.
because the whole point of the inner circle was because you had this ongoing beef between the
Jericho.
elite and Jericho
Jericho.
needed a faction.
Yeah, he needs something
So,
to help
birth the inner circle. Nathan says,
him.
I think people
Exactly.
would still make a, I think people would still make a star out of Jericho. Like, the fans like AEW, because it's fresh and new, they don't want to see megastar Bryan again. That is
That is
true. That is true. I don't think that they would pull a WWE. I don't think they would
no.
like push him to the moon. Um, kind of how I don't think AEW would put all the eggs in his basket, just like they did with Jericho. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Punk would eventually
Exactly.
lose the belt. Bryan would eventually lose the belt. They're still stars, but at the end of the day, their name value is above anybody. But like all the top stars are top stars. You know what I mean? Does that make
Yeah,
any sense?
exactly. Yeah, and Daniel Bryan, he's all about the chase, really, with his
Right.
career. He's a
That's
guy that's
yeah.
all about the chase.
And same with CM Punk. Same with
Yeah.
CM Punk. It's about maybe not the chase, but it's about his voice being heard type
Yeah,
thing.
proving himself. Yeah.
So he's one of those guys that will be always out to prove himself, and I think that'd be great veteran experience for
Yeah.
um, them. And but yeah, I think with with Chris, I think with Punk and Bryan there, it would be hard for him to see the light of day like he has. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
It
now
really
he's like a
would.
top guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But with Punk and Bryan there, it's not that he just won't necessarily. And if you want, maybe I booked Punk as my AEW champion, the one to beat Bryan for the title. You could even relive the Punk and Jericho feud and have Jericho take it back, and then
Yeah.
gloat that he's the first ever two-time AEW champion. So
That is the Jericho thing, yeah. That's
yeah,
true.
so you got something there, but I think yeah, I definitely think with Punk and Bryan there, I don't think he sees. I don't think he sees as much daylight as he has. He'll see
Yeah.
some daylight. Don't get me wrong. Just because he's so
Eventually,
damn
at
good,
least.
right?
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have came as quick as it did.
Exactly.
And I believe that to be the same with the next one. Would John Moxley be as popular?
Probably. I feel like his departure would still be like the same amount of popularity, but the second Punk comes back, that's all his popularity gone. People still like know and respect him, but like he won't be
Right.
as big as he was when he left, or as he is now.
I think he'd be. I think he'd end up being like a really good amped up version of like Joey Janela. Well, not Joey Janela, because he doesn't really get much TV time at all. But like, I think he'd be like a staple on there. You know what I mean? I think he would
Yeah,
just be kind of there for, not there for depth, but like I think he would just be like, I feel like he wouldn't really be fighting for like a championship or nothing.
no, he's like their Orton in a way.
Think
He's
Valor could have
he's
factored in anywhere? Hmm.
wow.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah. I think he's doing what he really is best right now for in NXT.
I think
'Cause,
I think NXT is definitely the thing meant to be for him because there's way much more for him to do. Like as far as intriguing shit goes, I feel like I don't want to see Balor versus Jericho, Balor versus Moxley.
yeah,
Like I don't know if that's necessarily Balor versus Bryan, maybe that, and Balor versus Punk maybe, but I don't know if that's necessarily something I'd want to see or I think would add much intrigue. Maybe it'll add intrigue, but like I'm not sure. I'm not sure he factors into AEW.
yeah. I don't, yeah. I say, unless he's like the Prince again, he needs a group, and
That's
his
the
group's still
thing. If
for
he were to come over with AJ Gallows Anderson, and
that'd be
then you
some
could bring
shit.
Switchblade over there and put him in that too, maybe that's like because like you would need to add somebody like that or because then it'll just feel like a Bullet Club reunion. So
Yeah.
you could
When
probably maybe even put Finn with completely new people
you really could, yeah.
if you wanted. I'd want to see AJ and Punk.
I mean, that'd be a good match and story, but not an AEW to me.
I think I think that AJ. I feel like AJ's like kind of done. Like when I
I'm
look
not.
at him, I haven't been too stoked on AJ in like the last fucking
Yeah,
3 years.
ever
Um,
since he's replaced, I just, nah.
yeah. Hey, what's up, Caleb? Thanks for showing up, bro. Um, Not for storyline, just a match. Oh yeah, the match would be amazing.
The match
AJ and Punk, yeah, that would be
would
amazing.
be
Just imagine that in
shit.
like 2011, but not like the TNA AJ look. Like his look is the best
No, like
now,
this.
but
Oh, yeah.
like 2011 Punk with like a prime, like both of them in their prime, that'd be good. But I feel like they could make a lot out of it now. That is true as well.
Oh, yeah.
I think that would be, yeah. But AJ's a lifer by this point.
He really
I'd be
is.
fucking floored if he left WWE. I genuinely would. I
Right?
feel like he's set for life with them.
He really, and I think he only got like at least like 3 or 4 years of actually wrestling left before he's basically like done. 'Cause he
Aiden
said
says
that himself.
he likes the New Japan AJ look. That was a badass AJ look. I actually forgot about that. Yeah, I'd actually take that. I'd actually take New Japan AJ look wise over Punk. New Japan or over like WWE. Not AJ,
Yeah.
maybe not AJ now, but like AJ from like 2016
Oh yeah, that
type
was
thing.
prime
Like
AJ.
yeah. Now I feel like it's all about like wearing these new colors so you can put these new colors on your new garbage t-shirt. We're gonna, you know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
I miss when
Yep.
AJ was just all black and blue. That shit was cool.
Oh yeah, that'd be
But
sick ass
but
bright
the
blue.
black and silver AJ from New Japan, that I
That
like
was
that a lot. With like that leather jacket, that shit was cool. I'd actually take that look versus Punk. Now that I think about it,
hell
I completely forgot about that fucking look for him.
yeah.
But
Swear to God.
would and if they would, how bad would they beat NXT in the ratings every week?
With
Would they
Punk,
would they slaughter them?
they would slaughter them with Punk, I believe.
I believe too. And another question I forgot to put in here, and it's something I genuinely believe, is I believe if Daniel Bryan came back to wrestling on the indie scene, AEW or New Japan ROH, whatever, I believe that would have definitely made CM Punk come back to wrestling. I genuinely believe that.
Yeah, so yeah,
I
cause
think it just would have ignited him because you know how bad he's wanted to have a main event program with Bryan and all that stuff. I'd love to hear you guys fantasy book TNA a TNA out of the shitter. I sure couldn't do it. Ooh.
Shit like that might be an impossible task at this point. I think.
Because the thing is, I mean, it's like a good fantasy book, like people going there, but like realistically, like how many people would have actually went to TNA, especially in like their later years? Like,
Like, for some reason they got star power now. I don't know why, but they're still dead.
yeah, they signed Tessa Blanchard, Kylie Ray went there,
Joey
um,
Ryan, like,
Joey Ryan, fucking Jordan Grace, like what the Sammy
yeah.
Callahan. He's gonna leave though. I
Oh, he's
I would
gone.
I would fucking shit if he didn't leave, bro.
I swear to God. Yeah, but that company, man. I don't know what they're doing in them contracts.
I don't know what the fuck they put in there, man. This fucking I have no idea. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, as far as them and NXT go, ooh,
Ah,
I think with Punk, Bryan, Jericho, Hardy, Brody Lee, Moxley, the Elite, I think they would end up slaughtering NXT in the ratings.
you know what also be bad for NXT? Vince will see that and start sending top guys down there
Yep.
that should not be sent, and
And
that'll be the
and then and
real
then there goes the Garganos and Champas and Lees and Walters and
exactly.
I mean, one thing I'm down for the match, but I ain't with this shit, bro. I ain't down for Finn Balor beating Walter. No
No,
fucking way.
it
Walter should never have fucking lost at the Survivor Series. And don't
no
think we fucking
God,
forgot that bullshit, WWE.
that was some garbage.
Like, I'm down for the match, but
But
if
Vince
it's
and
gonna
Walter,
lead to Finn beating Walter, I ain't down with that, bro. But dude, Vince is already doing that now. And
yeah,
AEW's just barely beating NXT in the ratings. So
legit.
imagine what would happen if they were slaughtering them. You'd see fucking Seth down there,
Oh, you see the
Becky, just people that are not meant for that. Like, and then, like I said, there goes the Garganos and the Champas and the Lees and the Priests and the Dijakovics and everybody that makes NXT special. And
yeah,
there goes the EOs and the Tegan Knox and the Tony Storms and then as far as the tag team division, the NXT tag team division hasn't had a stacked roster since the fucking revival days for as long as that.
yeah.
Well, their tag division, like, well, maybe not since the revival days. That might be a little too far back. But like the peak or like the last time I remember them having like a really good division was, if I can recall correctly, it was with Sanity and DIY and
Yeah,
AOP and the Revival. And then shortly after that, the War Raiders came in. The Street Profits had just got debuted. Um, and yeah, I yeah, and then it's like everybody just started going up rapid fire, and now
yes. Now they
any
got.
fantasy stuff you want to do with the Nexus? Do we have something for the Nexus? Let me check.
I think we do. I feel
I'm
like we
pretty
have stuff with that.
pretty sure we have fantasy booking with the Nexus. I can check for you though. Let me see. Let me check my notes here. Top 10.
Next,
What if Cena never beat the Nexus? It's a what if.
that's the one.
We got that down. Um, and then as far as my fantasy booking goes, we re-debuted. We don't have anything for that, but I will definitely write that down.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the fucking story CM Punk was telling about when the Nexus debuted. And he
Oh
was
my
saying he
God.
just got LASIK surgery, and he's like, and sure enough, they wanted to hide it from the boys that the Nexus were gonna debut, but me and Gallows knew something was up, and I just got this LASIK surgery, and sure enough, some motherfucker sticking his thumb in my eye. and he's like, so I'm pissed. I just start fucking slapping motherfuckers. And Gallows looks over at me and he goes, what do we do? And then the Punk's like, so I told Gallows, just start beating motherfuckers up. So we start beating up Ryan Reeves, which is Ryback, and then Colt Cabana started impersonating him. It was so funny. He was like, he was like, we beat up. They were portraying him like he was a fucking Flintstone or some shit. We beat up. And that Punk was imitating him too. He's like, no, we go over. Can you just imagine the Nexus debut and the fucking Straight Edge Society just buries him first night on the job?
My God.
You just Punk and Gallows just start beating the shit out of all of them. Ultimate burial.
God.
Yeah, but we do have what if Cena never buried the Nexus, because I don't know about fantasy booking their debut, because their debut was all fucking awesome. Their debut was incredible. Just their hello Joseph. First time on here. Nice to meet you, man. Thanks for stopping in. Yeah, so I don't know, but we definitely do have, as a what if, we do have what if Cena never buried the Nexus at SummerSlam 2010, and what a great guy Chris Jericho is for trying to convince Vince McMahon that was not a good idea. However, it happened anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that is, let's see. Punk buries Bryan on his Nexus debut. Imagine all the shit that would have fucked up. Oh my God! Or what if just playing onto what Nathan said? What if Daniel Bryan was never rehired?
Ooh. Or what if he never hit Ryan? Didn't he hit Ryan Ward or something like that?
No, Justin Roberts.
Oh,
He strangled him with his tie, and he got fired for it.
What if he never did that and never got fired in the first place?
He would have been buried along with the Nexus.
He would have, yeah.
At SummerSlam.
Oh, man.
I hated when Cole used to call them the Nexus 7.
Oh, that's gay.
Like, what the because there's 7 of them. Oh my God, it's the Shield 3. It's Sanity 4. I remember, it just sounds so fucking gay when he used to say that. Oh my God, it's the Undisputed 4. I hated when he used to refer to them as the Nexus 7. When the next week after they debuted, I believe that he called them the Nexus 8 invaded Raw last week. But then once Daniel Bryan got fired, he ended up not always, but I remember him whenever they would do their little attacks, referring to them as the Nexus 7. I fucking hated that. Man. Whatever happened to Curtis Axel? You mean Michael McGillicuddy? That's a good question. It should be on the fucking back of a milk carton. Missing. Remember the coal mine and Kiss My Foot match with Jerry Lawler? I do. Michael Cole's little fucking Corona box. Fucking Michael Cole predicted this fucking shit. And self-isolation. Fucking Michael Cole. Fucking the coal mine. Or when he used to call his fans the coal miners. Fucking gay-ass terminology, bro. The coal miners. Like, you don't even have any fans.
No one likes you.
I like Cole now for every reason that I shouldn't. Just because he's so bad. He's just like the life of SmackDown because the fucking show sucks so goddamn bad. Cole had nasty-ass athlete's foot. Especially when they fucking poured barbecue sauce, Jerry Lawler's barbecue sauce on it. It's fucking sick.
God.
Who would have thought that Michael Cole would have been in a... Can you imagine the conversation with Vince McMahon? Hey, Cole, we're going to put you in a one-on-one match with Jerry Lawler at WrestleMania in a Kiss My Foot match, and then you're going to have a strap match with him against fucking Jim Ross at the next pay-per-view.
Wait, what?
Against Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. Versus you and Jack Swagger. What?
I'd be like,
that gay-ass pairing.
Trash ass shit.
Michael Cole and fucking... It's fucking Michael Cole and Brodus Clay on NXT was fucking funny.
Oh my god.
Curtis Axel tagged with Bo Dallas, called themselves the B Team, and now they're both absolutely nothing. Yes, that is... God, imagine if 3MB were still together. Ooh.
Oh, fuck. Shit.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Who had that garbage intertitle reign?
We would have never got... Who would the Undisputed Era have beat up in their debut? If Drew wasn't in NXT, who do they beat up? Bobby Roode? Or who would Bobby Roode have faced at that pay-per-view?
Yeah. And if it was Bobby Roode, then Undisputed never would have happened. Because, see, they made the Undisputed, so Cole would look good going against a bigger guy like Drew. So Undisputed would have never existed. Damn.
That means the team of Red Dragon would have just been brought into NXT as solos. Or not as solos, but a tag team without a faction. And then Adam Cole just would have been the Panama City Playboy.
Damn, that's different, man.
Damn. That's something to think about, man. That's definitely fucking...
It really is.
Definitely out there. But, yeah, Curtis Axel, yeah, definitely should be on the back of a milk carton by now. I don't know where the guy is, but, fucking...
So
only fucking Jesus Christ himself knows. Probably fucking back somewhere in catering. So... Are you ready to book the streak? Oh, Brodus Clay, he is now, he was Tyrus, and now he is a Fox News sports anchor.
Yeah.
Something to think about. Now he is the Funka broadcaster. Fucking.
That was such good shit.
Funka Hackle is my fucking favorite.
Best character I've ever made. The Funkasaurus. God. Who approved that garbage? Vince.
Oh yeah. Alright, are you ready to book the streak? What if the streak was never broken? Now before I go, I just want to run down a couple things to you. This is basically what happened when the streak was broken. Obviously, the streak was broken. Obviously, that's the huge part of it all. We have the summer of Brock, if you will, a summer that turned into 6 years of this guy just not going away, which definitely sucks. And then after that, Undertaker would go on to just come back a year later and bury Bray Wyatt again. Another burial for Bray. He would end up to be the driving force for Shane McMahon to come back to television. He would obviously lose to Roman Reigns again. Have a fake retirement. Do a Cena squash match the next year, and to sum it all up, put on horrible matches in Saudi Arabia, and obviously most recently the Boneyard match, which is the best thing he's done in the last 6 fucking years.
Swear.
But now, guys, I want to rewind. We're on rewind, you guys. back to 2014, WrestleMania 30, where we live in a world where Undertaker beats Brock Lesnar and goes 22-0 instead of 22-1.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not necessarily. I'm not gonna. Towards his retirement, we're gonna have. Towards his retirement, we're going to have him kind of compete a little more. But as of now, we're only going to kind of use him for Mania, not just the show, but obviously he's going to be there to build the matches because his whole feud with Wyatt in 2016 definitely was just built up by Bray. It had nothing to do with Taker, and that is just ridiculous. How they just left that to Bray to completely build up. You know what I mean? Like, what the...
was just Bray begging for him to show up.
Right. And and so the next year, Undertaker is going to Undertaker is going to come on Raw towards Mania season and announce that he's going to be back. And before you know it, you hear the crow. And, lights go out. Lights go out. Lights go out. Lights come back on. Sting standing there with the bat. Hits Undertaker in the back with the bat. Undertaker falls. Lights go out. And you just hear the crow. And then lights come back on and Undertaker's just laying there. And the next week, or a couple weeks later, because WWE probably won't book Undertaker on every Raw building up to Mania, but a couple weeks later, about two weeks, Undertaker shows up again. He asks Sting to come out like a man.
Yeah.
And what do you know? Classic Sting up in the rafters. So Sting's up in the rafters with the bat. And he points his bat. And the camera pans to where his bat's pointing. And it's at the WrestleMania sign. Lights go out, lights come back on, Sting standing in the ring. Because obviously you could have anybody fucking paint their face as Sting, but have the real Sting standing in the ring. Obviously, WWE, leave it to them to fucking do all that shit. Now, Sting standing in the ring, face to face with the Undertaker. But before Undertaker can hit him, lights go out, crow sound again. Okay, so Undertaker can't get his hands on Sting. A couple of weeks later, Sting's out in the ring cutting a promo on why he did it, but before he could get to his reasoning, Undertaker wanted to come out so they could do it face to face. These two brawl, not really for too long, because old guy brawls are just kind of just ridiculous. So we're just gonna have a couple punches, couple kicks. It'll end in a choke slam. Yeah. Now they could cut really good promos on each other. Undertaker could tell him things like, you stayed in WCW because you never wanted to come play with the big boys, and you know how they just kind of fucking just gas WWE up as if it's just like a fucking place with the only good people are here.
Swear.
It's what they try to portray it as, but they do have a lot of bums. So we get to the match at WrestleMania. And by this point, to add a little bit of intrigue, I would have a little bit of Undertaker's WrestleMania matches be like retirement matches. But I don't know if it'd be overkill. Maybe like the two of them I have on my list, but...
Yeah. I got to.
But for the Sting one, it's not just Undertaker. Sting says, if I can't beat you, you were right about me, and I never was as good as I said, as I thought I was. WrestleMania 31, Sting defeats Undertaker and wins,
Oh shit.
and that's it. No, I'm just playing. No, but Undertaker beats Sting. Show of respect afterwards between two icons of their time. Obviously, you got to get the show of respect in there between those two. Undertaker walks away with one more ride left. It is not his last ride yet. Next year, WrestleMania 32.
Alright.
Oh shit. Let's see. This is 2015. The Brock dominance does not happen. However, Cena have him in some kind of feud with the Authority to the point where they kind of take the title, they kind of cheat the title off of him to get it on Seth. So after him and Seth's feud, Cena's like, I wanted to do this my whole career. I never got the chance to. But this is... He could have him say something like, not this is all I got left, but like, if my career really is looking as bad as it is for me, because we could just, in my booking, the Authority's just been fucking with Cena, like, for the whole year. If my career is really going as downhill as it appears to be, I need to do this before it's too late. And he calls out The Undertaker. Now, the way they booked that for WrestleMania 34 was beautifully. It was amazing. With The Undertaker's silence. But The Undertaker, in my opinion, was a little bit too silent.
A little bit too, yeah.
So Cena, obviously, on the can't get Undertaker. So, Cena will start taking shots at his career. He's just too old. He can't cut it anymore. He should have retired many years ago. Just saying bogus shit to him. Now, now Cena on the Go Home show, Cena's like, Taker, this is my last chance. I challenge you to a match at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Now, as he's about to leave, nothing. Or as he's standing in the ring, nothing. So, I would have Cena say something along the lines of, I guess you're okay with your career being as dead as most of your marriages.
Damn.
Because I don't know if you guys know the story about Undertaker's wife Sarah, but it's a fucked up story.
It's weird.
Basically, and from a credible source, trust me, this is from a very credible source. Basically, what happened with Sarah is Undertaker came home unannounced and caught Sarah banging his brother and his dad. Don't ask, I don't know too much about it, but just know I heard it from a very credible source.
Very credible. And it's disgusting.
And I'm not even kidding. That is actually, I'm not joking. Like that, from a very credible source.
Serious.
Is what happened with that. So as soon as Taker hears that, Cena goes to walk away. I'm gonna actually have this be 2 weeks before Mania. Cena shows up the next week to call him out again, and as soon as Cena gets on the ramp and he's doing his salute, the gong goes off, and Undertaker lights come on. Undertaker just starts beating the shit out of Cena. Well, we'll have them in the ring Yeah, forget the whole salute thing. Cena gets in the ring, but before he could get a word out, lights go off, back on, in the ring. Undertaker looks at the Mania sign, or Cena looks at the Mania sign, but Undertaker's just locked on Cena. Those two start having a brawl. Not really. Probably just like a choke slam from Undertaker.
Yeah.
Now, they have a match at WrestleMania 32. Undertaker defeats Cena to go 24-0. The next year, he beats Roman, and I would kind of do it the similar way that they did it in real life, like kind of how they built it, kind of like he eliminated him from the Rumble, and then he eliminated him from the Rumble, and then that kind of like started their whole beef or whatever. And then
Yeah.
they ended up going on to have a match, but this time, obviously, Undertaker will defeat the big dog at WrestleMania 33 to go 25-0. Now at WrestleMania 34, the Undertaker comes out, promo, and he gets interrupted by the vintage Wyatt vignette type sneak attack. The little vignette where he went, yeah, that thing.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm.
next thing you know, Taker, Wyatt's just kind of cutting one of his Mystique ass promos. Next thing you know, Taker gets challenged to a match at WrestleMania, and Wyatt, I would have him be kind of like on an upward spiral. Like I'd have him be like an Intercontinental Champion at this point.
Yeah.
Kind of have him be an Intercontinental Champion. Maybe have him and the Wyatts be like Freebird Tag Team Champions, but I would never have him be the WWE Champion or the Universal Champion, whatever you prefer. I would never have him have reached the big one yet. And by this time, this is 2017, so this is WrestleMania 34. Oh, he would have already been a champion at this point in time. So he challenges Undertaker to a match, and he tells Undertaker, if you fight me, you put you put your career on the line, and I will put my how would Wyatt word this? Undertaker, if you beat me, you can have my soul.
Yeah.
Some shit like that. But if I win, I have yours. Yeah, that's how he'd put it, just like that. WrestleMania 34, Bray Wyatt loses against The Undertaker. Now, Undertaker will be 26-0 at this point. So, the next year, at WrestleMania 35, the one in New York, MetLife, I would do the Boneyard match. I would do Taker and AJ, we're just speeding that up to a year, in even though AJ had like a decent feud with like Orton building up, I don't remember the match being anything too special. So, but the feud was good. The feud was good, but it like the promos and shit were good, but the match I don't remember being too special, so we can hold off on that.
Yeah.
And after that, The Undertaker, would be, he would be on Raw for a special appearance, or on SmackDown, whether it's SmackDown 1000, because this is, around the time, around like October, 2019, so like kind of building up to SmackDown 1000. Oh wait, no, SmackDown 1000 was in 2018. Well, you can have You can have Undertaker be on an episode of SmackDown on Halloween or something. I don't know. Find a reason to get Undertaker on SmackDown and put him there. So you have Undertaker on
Yeah.
SmackDown. Obviously, the WWE Champion is on SmackDown, and the Undertaker says, I believe it'd be like 24, 23 years ago, or a really long time ago, he debuted at the Survivor Series. The Survivor Series just so happens to be coming up. And he goes to proceed to say how, and over the years, one thing he's got to notice about the Survivor Series is that a lot of guys now don't have as much grit and determination, and maybe not say it like that, but they maybe say it in an Undertaker way. Obviously,
Yeah.
a lot of guys nowadays don't um like portray Survivor Series the right way, or something like that,
Yeah.
and kind of. So I would have it to where he would kind of be like explaining how, like, he would be explaining how he wants one last ride, but he doesn't think that a certain someone is willing to put up that fight because he does, and he'll say it. He'll say, "I don't think a certain someone is willing to put up that fight with me because I don't think that Aleister Black is a worthy enough champion." So
Oh.
Aleister Black, who's the WWE champion, comes out, stares down The Undertaker. The Undertaker raises his arms, rolls his eyes back, and in the lightning, gets Black masked the shit out of him. Undertaker falls back. Aleister Black sits crisscross and stares at Undertaker and puts the belt on the floor, and the Undertaker raises up. And the lights go out and they come back on, and Undertaker's gone, and Aleister's sitting in the ring just looking at the WWE Championship. Aleister Black versus The Undertaker at Survivor Series. I would have Aleister for the WWE Championship. I would have Aleister Black lose this match. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it's for, I understand, but it's thinking bigger picture. And Aleister Black did get. I mean, before this, I would have had him come up after Mania, so he would have had this championship since like probably like the middle of the summer. I would have had him, or I would have maybe had him win Money in the Bank. So he's had a pretty
Yeah.
lengthy title reign, and it's now coming to an end. Now the Undertaker is the WWE champion. Aleister wants his rematch against Taker, and Aleister gets he loses again at the Royal Rumble, and Undertaker gets solidified that he will be at WrestleMania defending the WWE Championship. And after that match, The Undertaker gets on one knee, grabs the championship, goes to do his pose, but you hear the lightning strike and the fire go up. But then, do you remember when Finn Balor's music went out and it was like, ew, like
Yeah.
just like that, but it'll work with the lightning. And the lights, and you hear vroom. They come
Oh.
back on, and Undertaker's still on one knee holding the championship, but Bray Wyatt, the Fiend, has a hold on the other end of it,
Oh.
and 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 then Undertaker goes to get up and hit, lights go back out, the Fiend is gone.
Nice.
Or you could probably do something like Taker. Taker gets up, but immediately gets put in his sister Abigail. Or since he's already kind of like on like a knee, Bray Wyatt could kind of just transition him into that. Yeah, I'd do that.
Yeah, easily.
So
Yeah.
so I'd have that. And the Fiend by this point would, same way they did it in 2019, have him debut at SummerSlam, build him up to where it looks legit that he's facing Undertaker at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I don't want to have the Fiend like debut here and immediately get a championship match. So we're gonna have him debut at Mania, and we're gonna have, or no, debut at SummerSlam like normal, and he will just get a lot of names under his belt. Daniel Bryan building up to the Royal Rumble. Now, the Fiend, well, not the Fiend, but the Funhouse Bray Wyatt cuts a promo on the Undertaker saying, "You took everything from me. Now it's time for me to take everything from you." And he tells him, and he brings up, "Do you remember? Do you remember what you took from me 2 years ago? He took his soul.
Yeah.
He broke him, and and um and similar to what he said to Cena, the Fiend put him back together."
Yeah.
And you could have just Wyatt say just Wyatt shit, like he's gonna hurt him and stuff like that, and he's not very happy with you. Obviously he showed that. So we get to WrestleMania 36, and this is where I would have the culmination of this all. You guys should talk about and rank all of the WWE games. Oh god.
Actually, oh god.
Some of them are fucking awful. Like this one. Well, 2K20 is definitely number 20.
Oh,
And we get into the WrestleMania match, and Undertaker versus Bray Wyatt for the WWE Championship. They have a decently long match. Well, not like a long match, but like a decent timed match.
yeah.
And Undertaker goes for the what's that move where he stands on the old school, where he stands on the rope. He stands on the rope, and he's coming down to jump on Bray. Bray catches him in the mandible claw, swings him down to the ground, and as he's doing the mandible claw, he's banging his head off the mat.
Oh, man.
And Undertaker just, I mean, after a lot of these, just looks like a noodle. You know what I mean? Like he just literally just looks dead. Like he's just flapping around. And then I would have the ref, and then as he's got him in the mandible claw, I would have the ref count. Actually, I forgot to mention, it's a decently timed match of little to no, like, Undertaker offense. Like, since this is really it for him, I mean, you gotta get a couple offense. Like, he could, like a little bit of offense in the beginning for him and in the middle. But
Yeah.
the end of the match, once he gets Undertaker tired, you start to see him be exposed. And now he's not like he normally is, and it's just something about this time that he's just completely just dead. Like he's just, just dead.
Oh, yeah.
And Undertaker and the Fiend is banging his head up against the mat. And it pans to Undertaker's face, and he's got his eyes rolled to the back of his head as the ref counts 1, 2, 3. The Fiend first WWE Championship comes from defeating the Streak at WrestleMania, and after the match, I would have the lights go out. They come back on. Undertaker is standing in the middle of the ramp. He nods his hat to Bray Wyatt, and he starts to go down. He starts to go down in the stage, and as he does that, the Fiend just raises his arms like he does, and
Yeah.
and that's it. And that's how I would book the ending of the streak.
Nice, bro. That's some good shit.
What do you got?
Alright, so, WrestleMania 30. We all know Brock versus Taker. Brock loses. Thank God this time. He loses. No Brock domination at all. That shit, goes on at 31. I actually say at 31, for me, he's gonna go on to face Wyatt like he did before.
Mm-hmm.
That same Wyatt, he beats that Wyatt. But in that feud, Undertaker won't just be absent from the build-up. He'll be there. And more of the thing is that Undertaker will be saying that Wyatt doesn't have what it takes to be the next guy, be the next face of fear. He says he doesn't have enough aggression or enough, focused aggression.
Mm-hmm.
Shit like that. He doesn't have the fire truly deep inside of him. So, and like history says, Wyatt loses that gimmick. And another thing, Cena did beat Wyatt at 30 like he did before in my timeline. Still, that shit still happened. Wyatt is talking about, he loses. Wyatt has no more identity, basically, anymore. He just goes on to do the same shit he did. Just some random shit. At 32, I'd actually have Sting. For me, at 32.
Mm-hmm.
I would have more of a this never happened storyline. The match that never happened, that everyone always talked about.
Right.
It would go on. They would always just make the jokes and jabs at each other. It wouldn't be more playful. It'd have been like just straight jabs in that storyline. But yeah, a lot of stuff involved, like Sting doing his rafter shit and pointing to I actually like what you said, how he points to the WrestleMania sign in the
With the bat.
rafters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's such a Sting thing to do. That's definitely sick. But yeah, of course, Taker would win again. At Mania, keeping the streak alive. In 33, I'd still have Roman, because couldn't think of anyone else at the time. I could face, not Wyatt, I could face Taker. Roman would lose, which would actually make Roman look better than he would have beating him, because people
Yeah.
wouldn't hate Roman nearly as much. Taker go on after Roman, and 34, I got something different, because around Rumble time at 2019, no, that was 2018 actually, at 2018, WWE signed a new man to the production team, and that new man was someone that people always wanted to see versus Taker, something that almost
Ooh.
happened. And he will sign. No one will know. People just think he's a member of the production team, but secretly he wants one last run with a man he never faced. So at that Rumble, similar to what happened with Roman, there will be a surprise entrance. Probably, not 30, maybe not, maybe 30, but maybe not. Who was 30 for that Rumble?
The one where
34.
number 30 was Dolph Ziggler.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so fuck Dolph. Alright, so this person that enters at number 30 is
Yeah.
Abyss. He makes his first on-screen WWE appearance, and He's just in the match. Undertaker's already been in the match, and he eliminates Taker, and he gets eliminated himself later on. He eliminates Taker. Taker's pissed. He's like, "Oh, who are you? You're you're doing this shit. How many years too late? What was it at that point? Like 11 years too late?
Yep.
Yeah, 11 years too late. Your time was 11 years ago, you know? That type of
Right.
shit." So they, you know, build up the match till Mania. They have the match. It's a really different match. It's Abyss. He's there. He does his Abyss. I don't even know what he would look like in WWE. That's gonna be different. He faces the Undertaker. He loses, and that's his retirement. And that's like showing, okay, I guess I was never meant for this. I was never meant for you. I shouldn't have ever came face to face with you. I should have let that be a what if forever.
Yeah.
So, of course, Abyss loses.
So would it
He
be
goes
like an
back.
ego thing for Abyss?
Yeah, it would be like, yeah, it'd be like, I never faced you when I should have. So now I'm gonna prove that even if I did it back then, I still would have beat you.
Yeah.
And he loses. So he goes back to the production team, basically. That's what his production role goes on to be. And then at 35, I would actually have him face the Velveteen Dream. Something very different. And it'd be like, kind of like a battle of the egos, but it'd more be like Dream's ego would be really the only ego there.
Mm.
Dream would be saying he's old, he's not it anymore. He's not what the people want, and it's Dream what the people want. So yeah, that match happens. Dream loses. He's not buried. He just loses because at the next Mania he'll get Cena. I'll just say that he gets Cena at the next Mania because he'll need some after that loss. But it's Dream versus Taker, like just a character. Not even Dream's not even a character, but he's such a person that he is a character, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like the battle of those different characters, you know. Dream
Mm.
sadly loses because he needs to. Well, he doesn't need to, but Undertaker needs to win, and that's just another notch on Taker's resume. And then a year goes past, and building up to WrestleMania 36, Taker's comes out. He's like, do this every year, and every year it's the same thing. Some new guy always claims that he's the new face, that he's better than me, I'm old, he's young. Same old thing, they lose every time. I've dealt with this so many years. So many people had potential, but they never they never were it. I was it. And then he starts to talk about identity, how he's the one with the most identity. He over these years he's built up himself as the real face of fear in the wrestling world. That's when the Firefly Funhouse music kicks on and Bray Wyatt is there as Funhouse Bray, cuts a Funhouse Bray promo about how you stole my identity, but you proved that at the time I was wrong. I wasn't ready. I was loose. I wasn't focused. But now I'm great. I'm go you know, he's doing his Wyatt shit. He's doing his Wyatt shit. You know,
Mm.
he's like, I am focused now. I I was it's hard to put it like it's hard to reference the Fiend. Like he's the focus, you know. Tries to do that in a way.
Or you could say like uh I thought I was a god then, but he taught me otherwise.
Yeah, something like that. References to being like changed by the
Yeah.
Fiend, demolded by the Fiend. You know, they build that up. It's all about now it's all about Wyatt proving that he was wrong back then. He thought he had the whole world in his hands, and his hands weren't strong enough to hold the world, but the Fiend's is. And they have the match. And another thing in that match, I wanted to include this somehow because I thought it'd be sick. Is Undertaker's gloves somehow end up getting the hurt heel symbols or lettering on them
Hmm.
somehow. I thought that would be a sick thing to somehow write in there. I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't find a way to write it in. I was thinking about doing something with a scarecrow, but I was like, that'd be for Sting, and that'd be a reference too many years in the head.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they go on to have the match, and
By this point,
and
has the Fiend debuted yet?
oh yeah, the Fiend has already been
Okay.
an established thing.
Okay.
Everything with the Fiend and Wyatt's story has been the same as it
Okay.
was in real life.
Okay.
Even not losing to Goldberg, but he had the match with Cena, but it was what it should have been. Is that
Yeah.
Cena didn't get 17. So yeah, he's fully built up. So Wyatt's talking about, you're my final piece to fixing my broken past. And when I end you, I end Bray Wyatt. No, I end my past failures, and I solidify myself as the face of fear. In his Wyatt way of saying that.
Mm-hmm.
And he does that in that match. The Fiend brutalizes Undertaker. Undertaker puts up a fight the best he can, but he's he's never seen anything like the Fiend before. And the Fiend eventually gets him in that mandible claw, and as the Fiend's hitting him with the mandible claw, he does that. You know how he does that scream? He looks up and
Mm-hmm.
screams. As he does that, the Fiend rolls his eyes back, and he hits him with the 1, 2, 3 ending streak, solidifying himself as the new face of fear. That's what I got.
Wow. That was great. That was good as shit.
Uh, Yours was really good.
It was decent. I
I liked yours.
didn't. Alright. Well, okay. So, now I got some questions here for you guys to think about.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, Joseph says, fantasy book, what if Asuka never lost her undefeated streak? Yes, that is on here. We do have that on the
That's
list
definitely
for future
on there.
future things to what if fantasy book. Okay. Well,
Okay.
would Brock would have had this reign of terror against WWE for the last 6 years, in your opinion?
I say, I say maybe he. I know they'll want to do something with them, but
Hmm.
I think to the fans it wouldn't be as a reign of terror as
Right.
it would be. As long as he doesn't win a championship, people won't hate him. I
Yeah.
say.
I think sooner or later he would have had a reign of terror. Just because of how much money he milks out of Vince and how Vince likes to
Oh yeah,
have him as like kind of his bitch, where he's kind of like,
that's true.
I'm still listening. I'm trying to shit out 700 words of paper in 30 minutes.
I'm
700
dead.
words of a paper. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to. I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe reword that in more language. Would we still have two belts?
Ooh. that I feel like eventually they would have retired Big Gold for the Universal title.
Same.
Because I think
Cause
that's something Vince wanted for a
yeah,
while.
cause I don't know if you guys know this, but Brock is the reason that they don't have the WWE Championship and Big Gold. He,
Exactly.
he's doing homework. Oh,
I'm dead.
um, and I think, that, um, yeah, I think it's something that Vince wanted, and I think it's something that he was inevitably gonna do. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that would have happened either way. Would Shane McMahon have ever returned as an
Ooh.
on-screen character?
I feel like if they would have done the Brad's fit, I think he would have still been the
Hmm.
GM, but it's an on-screen role back then. Nah, there's no point in having him come back.
Right.
You?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say yes, just because it's Vince's son and he'll fucking find any ridiculous little fucking thing to put him in.
Yeah, it's true. They'll find a way. Hopefully he wouldn't be able to, but he'll squeeze
Yeah.
him in.
Yeah, but I'd say probably. Would Taker's reputation be ruined if
Oh,
I don't think it would have either. I think he would have went out the right way, losing to the Fiend, whether it's my way or your way. Either way, I think he just needed to lose to the Fiend.
yeah.
And I think
That's
that's what the culmination should have been. I think that's only right for them to do it like that. But what if Finn Balor
oh,
didn't get injured at SummerSlam? I believe we have that one too.
oh yeah.
So stay tuned for the next time we got some what ifs coming your way. It could be one of those ones. Um,
Yeah.
uh, would Undertaker work so many Saudi shows if he was doing the WrestleMania shit?
Ooh, would he? If he was big, not dead, probably not, because they would probably, and if they do, he'd probably be losing, which could tarnish his reputation. So I say no. He
I'd say
wouldn't want
no
to.
as well. I don't think he would want to because by this point, at least how I booked it, he he's so known for WrestleMania, and the only reason I had him challenge at Survivor Series is because that's another event that's special to him. And if this
Yeah.
is going to be his last year before he retires, assuming in real life that he would know that, he would definitely want to have one last Survivor Series under his belt before
Exactly.
he rides off into the sunset. But
And I think the only reason he really does the Saudi shows is because he knows the character's dead. So
right,
it's just like being in a dead grave. What's it gonna do?
right. So I figured this one out earlier today, actually. Would Cesaro's push have happened? Now, I don't know if you know this, the reason that Brock, or the reason that Cesaro was put with Heyman was because they needed a reason to keep Heyman on TV because, because he needed to bring up the fact that Brock Lesnar defeated the Streak. But Heyman mentioned in an
Yeah.
interview many years ago that they were going to push Cesaro as a
Oh
singles,
shit.
but then they came up with the idea to um, what you call it? They came up with the idea They came up with the idea to put him with Heyman to keep Heyman on television. So I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
But do they? That's tough. Would Cesaro's push have happened?
Ooh.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he just would have been one of those guys that just fades away like everybody else.
Yeah. Or
What
he's
if
one of those guys
Stone
never
Cold
wins.
Steve Austin never got injured at SummerSlam 1997 against Owen Hart? Oh, that is way out of my memory, my friend. I am
Oh,
not from that. I am not from that era. Um,
yeah, I was thinking more it, man.
Yeah. I think he would. I think if they would have done anything with him, it would have been mid card at best. I mean, it's still better than anything he's doing right now, but that's just what I think. What about you? What do you think about that
He.
news?
I was like, I'm thinking like, damn, that's nuts.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
eventually, Vince would have got tired of him. Definitely. Vince
What
got
if
the
Bobby
attention span of a
Roode
fish.
or EC3 never got tarnished? They fucked up EC3 when they fucking brought him in as a babyface. And they fucked up
Yeah.
Bobby Roode by bringing him up as a babyface, too.
Yeah, exactly. So if he would have kept him heel, it would have been.
It was so stupid, their point of him being a babyface. Just because his
Yeah,
music. Like, what?
was over. Like what? That makes God. Undertaker music was over.
There's a lot of
Music was
people that have over music.
swear. Come on, man.
Yeah, but, yeah, so that was What Ifs episode 1 for What Ifs. First time we did them. Let us know what you guys think. But
Yeah.
now for the big announcement for those of you that have stuck around as we wrap up here. So obviously, you guys probably have noticed we did not bring up any news in this episode. Now there's a reason for that. We realized. So this episode went a little long because it's 2 fantasy bookings, but
Yeah.
so it went a little longer than anticipated. But the so we are going to save our themes, which if you guys don't know, Mount Rushmore's, which is our top 4 of all time of a
Yeah.
subject. Our top 4s, or not our top 4s, our Mount Rushmore's top 10s. What if scenarios, fantasy bookings, and then fantasy bookings that aren't what ifs. Just
Yeah.
so
General fantasy rankings.
uh we are going to have a show completely dedicated to these, the like I said, Mount Rushmore's top 10s, what ifs, fantasy bookings. Completely dedicated to these, and anything else you guys want to talk about in the chat, it's fine,
Yeah.
obviously. And we will have a special episode dedicated to news. Now, that episode will be exclusive to Friday nights right after SmackDown, which 9 o'clock.
Yep.
Right after SmackDown, which just because of SmackDown, probably about 9:05, 9:15, but generally 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock on Fridays, that will be the time where we specifically dedicate WWE news to that
One show.
show. And
Yeah.
this show, which will still range from any day of the week we want, we will let you guys know a day or two in advance when we were going to do it. But
Yeah.
these can be Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Saturdays, Sundays, or Mondays. Any day but Friday, right? So,
Exactly.
so that is the huge announcement. Obviously, like I said, this one went a little bit long, so it kind of disproves my point, but, well, I mean, it kind of does prove my point, because if we were to talk about news, this would definitely be like a 4-hour live stream, and we want to have
Definitely.
way better spacing, because we got a lot of
Yeah.
news. So, a couple of you guys, specifically Nathan, mentioned this to me, that, we should do this more than once a week. So that is what we're going to do. We are going to space this out better. Fridays is the day that we are going to dedicate just to news, and yeah. So that's the big announcement. Just to let you guys know. So there will be a show specifically for our themes, specifically for news. So yeah.
Yep.
Anything you got to say about that?
I'm just excited. I think it'll be better because it's like the same flow just split in half.
Right.
Separate points in a week. It'll be way easier for us and way easier for the people who are watching to take it all in.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I'm really digging
So both will be 2 episodes. So or both episodes will make 1 episode, if that makes any sense to you guys. So, what if, like, this episode and Friday's episode will both be episode 2? Then next week's top 10 and next week's news will both be episode 3. So they'll be on a weekly format. So that is the big news, and that is how everything's going to be. That is how everything's going to be. So instead of once a week, we'll be on here twice a week now with the podcast for you guys. So yeah, as we wrap up here, is there anything else you got to say?
I'm glad you guys came in. Thank you guys for all who stayed. And I hope we see you guys this Friday night for the news, because it's a big news week, actually.
Got a lot of news. It's a lot of news.
I just can't wait to see you guys then, man.
Couldn't have said it better myself. But thank you guys again for showing up to the podcast, episode 2. And we will be back to continue episode 2 on Friday with the news. We got a lot of news. And just for next week's preview, next week is our top 10s for those of you who do not know that. And the top 10 specifically that we will be doing are... Fuck, I can't find it. Okay. The top 10s that we will be doing are our top 10 WWE superstars. Just something simple just to do in the beginning. Just something simple so you guys can obviously get a better feel for us and how we are. Underutilized stars, such as, just for an example, he's not on the list. He can't be anymore because he's not in WWE. But Luke Harper, underutilized talent, right? Now, then the third top 10 we will be doing are failed runs. Now, to give you guys an example, because he's not in the WWE anymore, CM Punk's 2010, because it was failed.
Yeah.
They did not take that serious enough. But that kind of falls more on WWE's hands. But we will be doing ones that just absolutely fucking sucked, in our opinion. That is next week. We got failed runs, our top WWE superstars, and our top 10 underutilized superstars. So look out for that this Friday on the channel, you guys. And that is going to do it for this episode of the Notorious Heels Podcast, episode 2. Like I said, we'll be back on the channel for the second part to episode 2 this Friday for the news. Anything else you got to say? Alright, guys, and that is going to do it for this episode. Thank you guys again for joining. Please like, comment, subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next one.